Now we are creating a new class called application. So open a classes folder and create a new file, call it application.php. And inside of the file, start with the opening PHP tag. And on a new line, type class application. Now what this class is going to be doing is it will store the instance of the database class of our DBase class. So first of all, we're going to create a public property which will be called DB. Then we will create a construct function, public function construct, and as you may remember, construct is executed automatically when the specific class is instantiated. So this DB, and we simply create a new instance of the database. So new DBase, which is the class which we've created earlier. So now this DB will automatically store this instance of the DB class. So we can close this file because that's everything we need here. Now if we create a new class called business.php, and obviously again opening PHP tag class business, and this class business will extend our application class. So extend application. What extend does is basically, as I've explained earlier as well, it allows us to inherit all of the properties and methods as long as they are public or protected from the class which we are extending. So in this case, this instance of the DB class will be available for us inside of this business class. So we won't have to instantiate the database class again. And this is why we've created this application, because we will be using instance of a database class quite often. That's why every time we're going to be using this, we will be extending application, and rather than obviously instantiating this class separately in all of these other classes, we'll simply extend application and we have the instance of the database available to us straight away. So business class will contain the information specific to the business which runs the website, which, let's say I've got a company, I'm selling shoes. So obviously all the information about my company will be stored in a specific table called business, and this class will take care of all this information. Now, where we're going to be using this information, one of the places we'll be using this information, if we go back to our application, is the business name, for instance, heading, which will be the name of the business here, as well as when we're going to be creating invoices later on, dynamic invoices for the purchases. This is where this class is going to be in use. So let's start with defining the private property called underscore table. And the name of the table we'll be populating information from is business. If we go back to our browser and check our database, you can see we have table business with name, address, telephone, email, website, and VAT rate. VAT rate obviously because let's say in the UK, for instance, we've been changing VAT over the last few years quite often. So it's quite good to give this option to the clients. So whenever the VAT rate, obviously if you are from a different country, tax rate changes, they will be able to update the rate here as well directly through the form in a control panel later on. So if we go back to our class, we can lift it up a little bit, and we start with a public function called getBusiness, which will basically populate all the information about the business from the database. So we start with a SQL statement, select all from, and now we'll be using the back quotes. Let's use a curly brace, this, and the name of the table, which is underscore table. So that whenever we change the name of a table, if the situation like this was about to happen, obviously we can just change it in one place, which is changing the name of the assigned to the property. So select all from this table, where ID equals 1, because there will be just one record, and we make sure that this record has ID of 1. Now return, and now because we have already the instance of the database, we can simply call it this db, and a function inside of the dbase folder fetch 1, and just pass the SQL statement to it. This will return the specific record to us. Okay, next function will be public function get VAT rate.